Hey, ladies. Bridget, you're muted. I don't know if you know that. Okay. All right, let me let the dogs in real quick. Because I know I told people 9:05, so let me post in the Facebook page and tell people that we are here.
I'm going to put my earbuds in because I'm going to go out with the fam. So I'm going to mute myself so you don't have to hear all their shenanigans.
Sounds like a plan. I know. I'm hoping that the dogs don't make too much noise because, hey, Taylor, I don't want to go upstairs in my office because it's like 100 degrees up there. So I am stuck in the kitchen where the air conditioner is.
I wouldn't worry about it.
All right, let me let the dogs inside and then we will, hey, Teresa, we will get started. Even if it's just us, it'll be nice and cozy. All right, you gotta be good and quiet. You gotta be quiet. Where's the water bowl? Huh? Where's the water bowl? All right. All right, so let's get started. And if more people jump on, it looks like somebody just got on from the car, maybe. I will figure out how to record. Oh, it says I'm recording. I don't know how that happened, but that's cool. All right, I hope you guys can hear me. My dogs are being kind of annoying. Em, is that you down there? All right, I don't know. Taylor, is it as miserably hot in Texas as it is on the East Coast? Oh, Taylor, I can't hear, troubleshooting. Can everybody else hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, Bridget can hear me. Teresa, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, so it looks like we're recording, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So Emily wanted me to talk about kind of my big, let's see, how do I mute everybody? Mute, let's see if I can mute other people. All right, I don't know how to mute you guys, so if you see the little mute button, just go ahead and mute. Oh, maybe I can do it here. No? Oh, perfect. Okay. All right, so Emily wanted me to talk just briefly, because I know everybody's probably out or about to go do fun stuff or getting ready for fun stuff tomorrow. But about my biggest takeaway from Summit. So I was looking through my notes, and what was really funny to me is the session that stuck out to me the most was actually one that in the moment I thought was really boring. And it was at the end of the day, which is probably why I thought it was boring. And it was one of the last sessions that I went to, but I took like 3 pages of notes from this half-hour long session. And it was by Kim Carver, who's one of our corporate guys. I don't know what exactly his job title is, but I know he does something at the corporate level. And he talked about focusing on the fundamentals. So I wanted to go over that. And then another session that was about inviting specifically, because Kim talked a lot about inviting in his session. So if you are out and about and doing things, like, I definitely encourage you to like listen in for as long as you can, and then go back and watch this again later. That way you can take notes. So some of the biggest takeaways that Kim had from his session was things that I've been trying to get better at recently. One of his first points was to make a game plan, not just daily, but like monthly and quarterly, like what are your long-term goals? And we did that a little bit Actually, I don't think any of you were on the team in January. So in January, Jay, you were. We did a goal setting and made vision boards and like looked ahead at the year at what our goals were. But I think coming into the second half of the year, this is a perfect opportunity to like stop and reflect and really put some thought into where you want to be for the second half of the year. So making a game plan was one of the points that the other one that I really liked was to tell your significant other what your goals are. And I know I struggle with this because Tom's not home, so I can say this out loud, but I don't always feel like he's 100% supportive. But I also don't let him into my Beachbody life. So like I talk about you girls, Teresa and Taylor, he probably knows, like, he probably gets annoyed when I talk about you because I'm like, oh my God, guess what they're doing? And he's like, who are these people? But I realized that like, I don't actually share with him like, hey, I want to be, a 5-star diamond by the end of the year. And this is what that means. And this is what it's going to take for me to get there. So being really specific, Kim even suggested like having your significant other watch a video in the Beachbody office about the compensation plan. That way they understand like, this is what you have to do to make money. And if it's not a significant other, maybe it's a roommate or a best friend that like doesn't understand the amount of time that you're investing in this and why it's important to you. Because I know I'm actually struggling with that with a friend of mine right now as well, who's like, you abandoned me to do this Beachbody thing. And I was like, well, no, I just don't want to drink with you every Friday night anymore. Like there's a difference there. So really sharing with the people in your life that are important to you what your goals are so that they can understand that. And the third one was to focus on the fundamentals, which is where the rest of this ties in. And he said to like, it's great to have new ideas, but you should be incorporating it into the basics of the business. And those are those 4 vital behaviors. Being proof that the product works, inviting people every day, giving recognition, and personal development. That like, those are the basic tenets of our business. And it's great to have new ideas, but if they don't tie into those 4 vital behaviors, then it's probably just extra fluff that you don't need to be focusing on. So I wrote down, I hope nobody is offended. Now that Holly's team is out of our team page, I guess I can say this out loud. My takeaway that I wrote down in multicolors at the bottom of my paper says, do the fucking vital behaviors every damn day. Like that's what I wrote, because I think that's what it comes down to is like, it doesn't matter that I'm tired and that I want to sit on the couch and watch Friends. Like if I don't invite people today, then I don't have anybody to talk to tomorrow and I don't have anybody to follow up with tomorrow. And like Emily, I don't know how many of you know this, but like in her first 2 years of working the business, she only missed like 5 or 6 power hours ever in 2 years. And there are some weeks in the past 6 months where I've missed 5 or 6 power hours in 2 weeks. So like, if I want to be able to, I did quit teaching, but I'm still working full time. Like if I want to be in the position where Emily is, which is what my goal is, and that doesn't have to be your goal, but like, I need to start showing up every day instead of like, 75% of the time. So the first point in regards to being proof that the product works is really committing to a program from start to finish. And I have done lots of programs, but I've never been all in on the meal plan. So my plan with Lift 4 is to go all in, not just on the workouts, but on the meal plan as well. Just because, I want to be able to share that with people. I want to be able to say that I've done it 100%. And right now I can say that I've done the workouts 100% for Insanity Asylum and Yoga Retreat and 21 Day Fix and lots of programs, but I've never gone all in on the nutrition. So that's going to be the next step for me, is really focusing on going all in on both. One of the quotes that I loved, he said, you should be your best customer and your best coach. And I think that's really important. Like, not only are your challengers looking up to you, but when you start to have your own personally sponsored coaches, like, I mean, Teresa and Taylor are not going to listen to a darn thing I have to say if I'm like, oh, I invited 3 people this week instead of, oh, I invited 75 people this week. You know, like I have to put in the work, just like if Emily ghosted for a week on the team page, like we'd all be like, cool, I guess I don't have to do anything this week. So that's proof that the product works. Commit to a program, go all in, like do a short program if you want. It doesn't have to be 8 weeks. It doesn't have to be 80 days. Like go all in for 3 weeks if that's all you want to commit to at first. But do it 100%. So the second one is about personal development, and a distinction that I had not made for myself is to really draw the line between personal development and professional development. So while listening to the National Wake Up Call is great, and listening to our team calls, and you know, there's tons of videos in the Beachbody Champions page, those are all great resources, but that's not personal development. That's professional development. And I know there's a lot of teachers on this call right now. So like, we know that distinction. But I think it's very easy for us to say like, oh, well, I did personal development today because I listened to, you know, a YouTube video about how to invite better. But that's not working on my mindset. That's helping my business, and that's great. But I need to be working on my mindset every day, because that's what's going to allow me to show up as a coach and as a challenger for the people that I'm working with. And then to apply what you learn. Like, it's one thing to read about it, but if that's it, if that's where it stops and you're not doing anything with it, like, that's kind of useless. So, you know, I recently have started, it like pains me, and I don't know why, maybe it's like the teacher in me, but like it pains me to highlight and to take notes inside of books because I feel like I'm ruining the book. But I've recently started making myself like highlight and sticky note and like find things to come back to. I'm rereading You Are a Badass right now. And it's really nice to like have chapters where I can open it up and I can go back to a specific paragraph that like really spoke to me last time. So as much as like it hurts me to write inside of a book, I'm doing it, and I think it's going to be really good because now I can flip back. And when I need a quick pick-me-up, you know, that book in particular is laid out really well, where like, if I'm struggling with motivation, I can go to that chapter. If I'm struggling with, you know, feeling like self-worth, I can go to that chapter. So that's been really good for me right now. Sorry, I'm talking a million miles an hour because I've had 3 cups of coffee and energized today. So I apologize. Point 3 was about inviting. And you know, Success Club sounds like this big scary thing when we're like, oh, Success Club 5. But the reality is that that's 3 people a month. And it doesn't have to be 3 coaches. That could be 3 people that want to join you on a fitness journey. And like, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't hit Success Club last month. I was at Success Club 4. And that was the first time that's happened to me in like 6 months. And it like really got to me. Particularly because I felt like I'd been doing a great job at inviting and starting new conversations. And then when I went back and looked at the numbers, I noticed that I did a great job at inviting, and I did a great job at new conversations, and I did a really crappy job at following up. So I had started a ton of conversations, and then I didn't go back to those people. And some of you know this already, but when I first joined, Emily and I went back and forth via email 14 times before I said yes. So following up, like, I totally would have ghosted her if she hadn't followed up with me. So like, thank God for follow-ups because I wouldn't be here right now. So following up, super important. I am trying to build it into my routine a little bit better. I'm using Google Streak. So one of the other tips that I wrote down is like, I'm not going to respond to messages unless I'm sitting at my computer because I can't get Google Streak on my phone. Or I mean, I have it, but it's like weird. So that's how people were falling through the cracks for me, was because I was responding on the fly on my phone, and then they weren't filed into one of my follow-up lists. So then they never got a follow-up email. So I'm setting a rule for myself that I'm not responding to emails until I'm sitting at my computer, which has been really hard because I spend a lot of my day, like today I had personal training clients for 2 hours and then had an hour off and then worked at the store and then had an hour off. But like I have a laptop and there's Wi-Fi in 90% of the places that I visit in a day. So I have no excuse not to pull my computer out instead of doing it on my phone. I went off on a tangent. This was supposed to be about inviting, but part of inviting is following up because otherwise you're going to lose a lot of those people that you're reaching out to. And then the fourth point that he made was to create value for existing customers. And for me, that's kind of the easy part. Like challenge groups are what got me hooked on Beachbody because I do think that like that extra level of accountability is huge. Like that's what sets us apart from buying a Jillian Michaels DVD or, you know, doing Zumba on, you know, Comcast On Demand or whatever. Like our challenge groups and our accountability groups are what make us different. So make sure that you are adding value to those groups. And you know, like tomorrow, that's on my to-do list, ladies, because our challenge group starts on Thursday. So I will be emailing you, Taylor and Teresa, our script tomorrow. But, you know, like doing fun stuff. Like we try, Bridget, I don't know how you run your challenge groups, but like we try to do like a fitness challenge once a week where it's like, whoever holds the longest plank gets an extra point, or, you know, share a recipe and then come back and comment once you've tried it. But really giving people the opportunity to connect and interact. And like our Rockstar Challengers, like I'm sure you guys could name them, you know, Caroline and Bethany and like these girls that have really invested in the group process. And like now they're showing up, like the last couple days we haven't posted because it's in between challenge groups. And these girls are still showing up every day in the group because it's become, you know, a source of community for them. And that's, I mean, that's the goal. And, you know, that ties into our vital behavior of recognition. Like, celebrate those people in your groups. Celebrate the coaches on your team. I don't do a good enough job, I feel like, of celebrating people publicly, like on my public Facebook page. I do it in groups or in our team page, but I want to do a better job of like celebrating people in the greater Facebook world or the greater Instagram world. Particularly on Instagram stories, I feel like that's kind of an untapped area where like now that we can share stories or however the new Instagram update works, like I can say, hey, Taylor just hit diamond rank because she's going to hit it later this month. And I can tag her in that on Instagram stories and then she can share it to her page. And, you know, it just connects a wider audience for all of us. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about point 5 because it was about duplication for coaches on your team. And I think Emily has done a great job of setting up those structures for us so that we're in a really lucky place where like, I didn't have to create a coach training basics for Taylor and Teresa because Emily already did it. So tap into those resources as you're signing up new coaches and new challengers because, you know, we have so much available to us. And Teresa, don't worry if you have no clue what I'm talking about yet, because we'll go over the Google Drive when we have our phone call. And there's like almost too many resources when you first get started, but it is amazing the amount of stuff that's there. And then point 6 is something that we've all heard, but it's worth repeating. And it's to keep the commitments to yourself and to your team and to Beachbody in general. So schedule your workout on your calendar. Like, don't let that slide because you're tired or because, you know, you had an extra glass of wine last night. Like, make that your reason to suffer through your workout. I'm just preparing my own self mentally for Thursday morning because I bought a bottle of sparkling cider in Canada and I like can't wait to drink it. So keep those commitments to yourself and treat your business, like we've heard this a million times, but treat your business like a business. And I think that was the biggest switch for me and Tom in particular was when I said that to him, like, hey, I'm going to schedule unplug time, but you also have to respect the fact that when I'm doing Beachbody work, like, I'm not going to be switching the laundry. I'm not going to be helping you cook dinner. Like, when I have that scheduled hour or two of my day, like, that's what I'm doing. Don't come talk to me. Don't ask me to let the dogs out. Like, pretend that I am out of the house at work somewhere. And that's really hard to do. So this makes me sound like such a loser, but I'm really motivated. Like, I hate when my house is disgusting. Bye, Jay. Have a good night at work. So literally this morning, I was like, okay, if you do your workout, then you can clean the bathroom real quick before you take a shower. And like, I was rewarding myself for doing my workout with cleaning the bathroom, which is like awful. But I had 2 boys in my house that both shaved their beards this morning, and the bathroom sink was like disgusting. So it doesn't have to be cleaning your house, but find something to reward yourself with for like, okay, I'm going to do my invites, and then, you know, I can go take the dog for a walk. And then I'm going to sit down and do my follow-up emails, and I can go play Angry Birds with my kids for 5 minutes or whatever it is. But break your work time. If you have the luxury of being at home, you know, like, I know when I was still teaching, I tried to do the bulk of my Beachbody work on weekends so that I didn't have to cram it all in when I had long days. So reward yourself in 15, 20-minute chunks. Like, give yourself something like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I can go do this. At least for me, I need, I guess, that motivation. And like, find joy in your coaching. Bridget, I feel like we might be the same person. And that, for me, like, changing my wording from I have to go do my power hour to I get to go do my power hour was really powerful for me, because like, the reality is that I love this job. Like, I absolutely love what I'm doing with Beachbody. So I don't know why I ever switched it in my brain to being a negative thing. Like, oh, I have to go do this. Like, I made a live video about it on Instagram a couple weeks ago, because a couple people thanked me for like, they were like, thanks for your personal message on Instagram. Like, it wasn't and it was copy pasted, but I always add a sentence at the end that's like personal to their page. And they were like, thanks for that. Like, you know, that really stood out to me. And I made a live video, and I was like, guys, what you might not understand is like, I legitimately like talking to people. Like, that's why I got into this. Like, I'm not just talking to you randomly on Instagram because I see you as a sale. Like, I genuinely want to know what personal training certification you did, because I need to get mine. Or I want to know what mountain that is that you're climbing in that picture, because it looks amazing. So just finding ways that you can genuinely connect with people. They're still going to say no, and it's still going to hurt. And like, it does feel frustrating sometimes, but like, the more personal connections that I can make, the easier it is for me to be like, okay, cool. I get to sit down and like start new conversations right now. Because I actually enjoy that. All right. Bye, Bridget. I'm going to wrap up in like 2 minutes anyway, because my throat is starting to hurt. So those were his 6 points. So I'll just recap them real quick for anybody watching the replay. Do a program start to finish. Be your best coach and your best customer. Know the difference between personal development and professional development, and know that both of those things have a value, but make sure that personal development is what you're doing every day. Add 3 new clients a month. Don't think of it as Success Club numbers. Think of it as, I'm helping 3 people this month, whether that means I'm helping 3 people who want to quit their job and want to do this, or I'm helping 3 people that have some weight to lose, or that want to have a healthier relationship with food. But make it your goal to help 3 people. Don't forget about your existing customers. Really invest in those challenge groups. Use the resources that we have created already as a team. Don't spend too much time creating your own resources. And then keep the commitments that you've made to yourself and to your team. Like tonight, like the team call is a great example. it's hard to get on Tuesday nights for me. Like Tuesday is my long day, but like I genuinely enjoy seeing everybody's faces and like having that personal connection. So it's in my calendar and it's just a thing that I build it. Like I treat this as, you know, work time. Like this is just, I didn't not show up at the gym this afternoon because I was tired. So why would I not show up for the team call? And of course, like things come up and, you know, I know Brittany's kids play hockey during this time and like, absolutely, there are like things like that. But as much as you can, really commit to those team events because that's going to give you that greater sense of like purpose and community. Whew. Okay. Do you girls have any questions about any of that stuff or any other questions about Summit or anything like that that you want to ask while we're in recording mode?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
Can you even hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Okay, sorry, I was having sound problems. Who was your favorite speaker at Summit and why?
So I really liked, I don't know if I wrote down her name. Somebody just posted it in the Beachbody Champions page and I will find it and share it in the team page. She was, that's day 2. Where is it? She was a therapist who was also a stand-up comedian. She was amazing. And Connie, Podesta is her last name. But she talked a lot about personality types, which I think was interesting because like it was funny as they were reading, she was talking about the descriptions of the different personalities. I did not consider myself to be a circle, which is like the loud, outgoing one. I thought I was more of a square, the organized one. And like Courtney and Jalen, I think, and Rachel were sitting with me and they were like, no, you're like 100% a circle. And I was like, oh, like, so it was interesting to see how I viewed myself versus how other people on the team viewed me. And I think Emily posted an article maybe, or maybe it was a shorter video about it. But yeah. She was definitely worth listening to. She was really great. Because so much of our business is based on relationships that I think it was really cool to hear her talk about that. Plus she was hilarious. The other thing that I think was really important that literally, I mean, everyone that spoke in the workshops was like an elite coach. Most of them, I think, were top 10. I think one of the girls was like 11 or 12, but they were all like super rock star coaches. And literally, I would say 90% of them were like, I started as a discount coach. I had no intention of doing this. And like, I just fell in love with the product and fell in love with the community. And like, they literally almost all of them said that they had a moment where they just decided like, okay, I'm going all in, like I'm 100%. And that switch in their brain was what made the difference for their business. And I think that I am either right on the edge of that happening or it's already happened. I can't tell. Like, I think not hitting Success Club in June was literally like the moment for me where I was like, what am I doing? Like, I already quit my job. I better start making some money doing this. And like, I don't want to work 3 part-time jobs for the next 20 years. Like, I want to have one source of income. So I think that really doing some soul searching about like why you're doing this, and it doesn't have to be full-time. Like I know Teresa and I have similar goals of like, let's not be teachers anymore and like, let's make fitness our life. But that doesn't have to be your goal. Like Jalen, who just hopped off the call, like I felt bad. I was bashing teaching a lot at Summit, and she is in her last year of college for teaching. And like, she genuinely wants to be a teacher, but she also wants to do this part-time. So no matter what your goal is, like knowing smoke, come on. Oh, that's not smoke, that's crush. Knowing what your goal is and knowing kind of what your targets are to get there. Like I had been getting by on 10 new conversations a day and 5 invites. And that's not the level I need to be at if I want to be making $1,000 a week. Like it's just not. So now my goal is I also started listening to the 10X rule by Grant Cardone. So like now I'm 10Xing that. I want to start 100 conversations a day, which is a stretch goal, but 100 conversations a day and 50 invites instead of 10 and 5. So I think just honing in on that is really important. And literally every single one of the girls that spoke also said, like, consistency is the main driver in this business. Like if you show up every day and you do at least the bare minimum. So, 10 and 5 is going to be my bare minimum. Like Saturday is going to be my day off from Beachbody because I work a couple other jobs on Saturday, but like I'm still going to do 10 and 5 even on an off day. And then on Friday, which is my day off from all the other jobs, like that's when I'll make sure I'm doing 150, if not more. So I think just getting clear about what your goal is and then figuring out, and I can help you guys figure that out. Emily, if you're listening to this recording and Emily's your coach, she can help you figure out like, what are those numbers that you need to be hitting for invites. And our new tracker system is fantastic for that. Like if the tracker turns green, you're doing the work that you need to do. And like mine was not green for follow-ups last week, which is how I knew like, well, that's where my problem is. So yeah, consistency. And then that Connie that talked about personality, I think were my two biggest ones. All right, it's 9:35. 9:36. So I don't want to keep anybody because we've been a half hour already. But Taylor and Teresa, I will be working on stuff for our team tomorrow and emailing you girls. And then I also have on my to-do list tomorrow to set up my own Zoom account so that we can kind of hop on and figure out a day that works for the three of us to have like our mini team call. So look for me to be bothering you. Don't answer your email if you're out doing family stuff or fun stuff tomorrow. Tom is working 24 hours today, so he'll be sleeping most of the day tomorrow. So I'm going to use that as my catch-up day. But don't answer me tomorrow if you're out doing fun stuff, okay? All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Uh-oh, how do I save the video? All right, well, hopefully this saves. All right.